A little bit of a crazy story yesterday. So I'm having my Spanish lesson as normal at 12 o'clock and I get a missed call and a message from my doorman in my apartment building. Now, normally in my experience, when I get a call or message from my doorman, it's never good news. And so I just said, what's up? And they told me that the people from the Medellin water company, EPM, had come and they've closed the water off. So the first question to my doorman was, oh, is that just for my apartment or the whole building? And they said, no, your apartment, you haven't paid a bill for 4 months. Now I thought, that's weird because I've only been living in the apartment for 2 months. It's currently March. I moved into the apartment in January, and so 2 months, and I haven't received any bill. And so I said to them, I haven't received any bill. What's the problem? And they said, you haven't paid. They've cut the water off and everything. And so I literally have no water in my apartment. First time in my life I've been living in my own properties, either rented or owned, for well over 10 years, and first time ever I have no running water. Now I think this is one of the biggest differences between Colombia and the UK, is I think in the UK the utility companies are not allowed legally at the first instance to kind of cut off your water supply. They kind of send you one email, then another one, then another one, then another one. They kind of chase you up a lot, and it's quite obvious that you need to pay. They make it really obvious, and they make it easy to pay as well. But obviously here in Medellin, literally, I did not receive a bill. What I think happened is EPM, the water company, sent out the bill somehow and it just didn't get to me. Either the portería didn't give it to me or the building administrator, something like that. Basically, someone fucked up in the supply chain and it meant that I never received a bill. And I actually asked my solicitor, interestingly enough, about a month ago, I sent her a message to say, hey, do I need to do anything about bills? What do I need to do about utilities and everything? And she said to me, don't worry, we're waiting for the deed to come through. Once you have the deed through, then you can register with EPM, which is like the electricity water utility company here, and you can get your direct debit set up and everything like that. I was like, cool. So I thought I did the right thing. I double checked with my solicitor and everything, and I hadn't received anything. The only bills that I kind of received are from the administration, like from the actual building to pay for their services. I didn't receive anything from EPM, and so I was completely shocked that my water had just been cut off. Now, they do it actually physically in person, and so someone from EPM came round to my property. They were let in. I don't think they really should have been let in the building anywhere. I think the portería should have said to them no, because I personally did not authorize for them to actually enter the building. They didn't enter my property because the portería doesn't have, the doorman doesn't have a key to my flat, but I personally think that they shouldn't have been allowed in the building. Anyway, so they came in, they turned the water off, basically said, fuck you, Harry, and left. And so they had to come back today to fix the water in person, for someone to actually turn the water thing on. So if you're ever wondering why the traffic is so bad in Medellin, there are so many motos, buses, cars, it's probably just the people from the water company either going to turn someone's water off or they're going back to reconnect someone's water supply. It's absolutely insane. And one of my Colombian friends said it's because there's a lack of trust in Colombia here. So basically the utility companies do not trust people to pay, and therefore when people don't pay, the first thing they do is just without even warning, they just cut the supply. Unlike in the UK with British Gas or EDF Energy, where they give you maybe probably 6 months leeway before they actually cut off your supply. Here, after like 1 or 2 months, they're like, boom. But isn't that crazy? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are, because literally, I think they've actually just connected the water supply just now. So right now, I do have water, but it's almost been 20 hours, 24 hours with no water. Look, I'll show you. So look, I've got the bucket full up with water. I filled the bucket up downstairs. I've been using that to wash some of my stuff. You can see I haven't done any washing up today. I've got the little half apple from B here, because literally, it's working now, but it wasn't working before, hence why I've got the buckets. Now, obviously B doesn't care at all. B is just chilling in her bed. Oh, baby, you're okay, you've got water, do you? And so look, I'll show you guys, look. So look, I'll quickly show you what happens when they turn up and then what happens when they leave. They kind of leave you a bill to say that they've come to turn off the water supply, even though in the first instance, I didn't even receive the bill to pay. I'll show you, look. Okay, so this is the first bill. So when they came yesterday, they turned off my water supply and they sent me, and they left like this note, which basically says, we've turned off the water supply, you haven't paid, blah, 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 blah. Then that's like the first one. Then when they reconnect it again, they give you another bill like this to say we've reconnected the water supply. and everything like that. So now I actually have two bills, not the actual bill for my energy or water usage, just a bill to say we've disconnected and connected the supply again. But isn't that completely crazy? And yeah, so I managed to go online today. I kind of ticked the box and filled out my details to say like who I am and that I want the bills in the future to be all electronic based, like sent to me via email. Because you know what? You just can't rely on people. Anything paper related where like the portería needs to give me the bill, I need to pay it, that is just asking for trouble in my opinion. But that is just so Colombia. It's absolutely crazy that they kind of haven't modernized for the 21st century and they still dish out bills in paper, and if you don't pay it, they cut off your water. I think I'm kind of lucky that they didn't cut off my electricity either. I still have electricity and gas in my flat because, again, another friend told me that the same thing happened to him. He just forgot to pay his electricity bill after he moved into his apartment. Then they just cut the electricity off, which means like no Wi-Fi, no fridge working, everything in your freezer goes off. That is pretty crazy. And you know what? It goes to show you can't really rely on anyone, because I asked my solicitor what I need to do. She said I don't need to do anything. None of the doormans never mentioned anything about a bill. And so it just reinforces the fact that when you are living in Latin America, you do have to take things into your own hands. And locals who have lived here and grown up in Latin America know this 100%. This is why that whenever there's a problem, people don't tend to call the police because people don't really trust the police. It's why people kind of take matters into their own hands. If they have like I don't know, like a family feud going on, or they need to like settle the score, like some sort of like criminal activity, they just rock up to the person's house and just, you know, with their gun or whatever and do that. But obviously that's a stereotype. I'm not trying to reinforce stereotype, but people here tend to take matters into their own hands. And going by what happened yesterday and today, I 100% understand why, because basically I was putting my trust in my like doorman, my administrator, in my solicitor, in the EPME people and all of these people, and yeah, just got let down. But you know what? Not the end of the world. Luckily, I have a gym close by and I have a gym membership. So yesterday I went to the gym twice. First session in the morning was my normal workout. Then I got the news that I had zero running water in my property because I hadn't paid the bill. Then I went back to the gym to go to the toilet to have a nice hot shower, which I actually enjoyed. That was kind of the silver lining of the whole ordeal. And yeah, I thought I'd just share that with you guys. I think that's one of the biggest differences between kind of general day-to-day living here, is that if you do not pay your bills here in Colombia, they just kind of like shut your services off and they don't give a flying fuck about whether you got the bill or not. They just think, you know what, he hasn't paid, it's not showing up on our system, so we're going to close his not his account, but we're going to close his supply. So yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Was I in the right to just like wait, not fill out anything, not actively going out looking for my bill or not requesting one or anything? Or was I in the wrong where I should have taken responsibility, knew that I needed to pay my water bill even though everyone told me to relax, no, it's all cool? Let me know in the comments below, what should I have done? I know what to do now, but I'm really not sure whether I did the right or the wrong thing in the first place. So yeah guys, let me know and I'll see you in the next video.